Right? Shalom, shalom, Akim. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, Ba'ashim, YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone, GMS, who taught me this truth. Honors to the brethren in the Akim that's pushing out this truth with all sincerity and in faith, and the Wadi YAHAWAH, Ba'ashim, YAHAWASHI, for allowing me once again to come back with another lesson. And the title of this lesson is simply going to be titled Time of Jacob's Trouble. And that was what's kind of been on my mind throughout my day to day at work. For some reason, I was seeing all these videos on people protesting, and seeing all tribes kind of coming and linking together. And I said to myself, man, this is going to get real serious out here, man. It's going to get very real, to the point where a lot of you people are, especially when I say people, I'm speaking of our people, you so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans, so on and so forth down the line, that we're going to come into a time where it's going to be brutal. It's going to get real bad and real quick. And when you read certain scriptures, and I'll go here through the Spirit. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 7. And it says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." See, so it's going to be the time of Jacob's trouble. Who's Jacob? Well, Jacob is a man who you read about in the book of Genesis, whose name was later changed to Israel, after he had wrestled with an angel. Okay? And he had 12 sons, which those are 12, patriarchs of the nation of Israel. Okay? You got Judah all the way going down to Issachar. And see, Israel's been through some trouble, in the past, in the time of Egypt and certain other captivities and so on and so forth. But this time is talking about a time such as never was. That's why it says, so that none is like it. Because the times that we're going to be coming into is going to really have a lot of people, or a lot of our people, in a world full of hurt, in a position of difficulty, in a place where in their mind they're going to feel like all around is lost. And with that being said, it's true. The Most High, he's going to really bring the pain down upon not only just his people, but upon the world. But as we read, and let me grab this. This is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 17, and it says, "For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Heavenly Father." Now, what's the house of the Heavenly Father? Well, the house of the Heavenly Father is his people. The Israelites. Those are his people. People be like, "Oh, the Jews, oh my God." The Jews, when you come across that word Jews, or the Jews, that's only one tribe of all the tribes. There's 12 other tribes. That's only one. And that's of the tribe of who? The tribe of Judah, which are who? You so-called Negroes. Those are the true Jews. Okay? And then you go down to, Gad, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulon, Ephraim, Manasseh, all the way down to Issachar. Those are all other tribes of the nation of Israel. That represents that house that it speaks of in here. Now it says, "For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Heavenly Father. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel?" And see, the answer to that question: those that don't obey the gospel, those that don't, you know, that refuse to do or get right in the sight of the Heavenly Father, He's gonna make an example. A lot of our people. Matter of fact, let me grab this. It's the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 19, and it says, "For horrible is the end of the unrighteous generation." See that? So horrible is going to be the end for a lot of our people. They're going to have a terrible end. A terrible fall. For their disobedience and for the wickedness. Okay, because the unrighteous, which means what? Something that's unrighteous means it's something that's wicked. You know. Matter of fact.
Here's the definition of unrighteous. Formal, not righteous, wicked.
Exactly. So the complete opposite of righteous, which is evil, wicked. And that's the bulk of our people. That's why, like, when you read Genesis 6, or I'm sorry, not Genesis, Galatians, that's why it says, because a lot of our people, what they do, what they reap, they're gonna have to sow back. What they do, they're gonna get paid for, no matter whether it's good or whether it's bad. And when you go to the book of Galatians, this is the book of Galatians, chapter 6 and verse 7. 6 and 7. And it says, "Be not deceived, the heavenly Father is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap." See that? And see, like, if you're doing dirt, eventually, in the process of time, it's gonna come back to you. You get what you give. And a lot of our people give the Heavenly Father a hard time. From not listening, from not hearkening, from being disobedient, to being very, very disrespectful. And, it's kind of like with your parents. You give them a hard time, they're going to give you a hard time. If you're a pain in their ass, they're going to be a pain in your ass. And so the Heavenly Father, He's just giving back that same energy. Because a lot of our people, they don't fear the Heavenly Father. And with that being said, that's why you see our people do what they do. They do a lot of the stuff that you just look at when they do it. You're like, man, what's wrong with these guys, man? And that's why the Heavenly Father has to put an end to this, and that's why He's going to start to bring His wonders, just as He did in Egypt. Exodus 3 and 20. And it says, "And I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in the midst thereof. And after that, He will let you go." See that? And see, the Heavenly Father, He's going to stretch out His hand and smite Egypt with all He had. That's what He did. He hit that place with all the plagues. And then eventually, through all the plagues, Israel was delivered out of that land. But see, that happened, right? See, that ain't gonna happen again. That the Most High ain't gonna deliver all His people as He did before. And at the end of the day, even though He delivered them, a lot of our people still died in that wilderness for those 40 years that they wandered. And they're gonna die in this wilderness, this desolate wilderness, and it will be a wilderness. All right, it's gonna be nothing but, rocks and ashes, if that. Nothing's gonna be left here, and that's how the Heavenly Father is gonna deliver His elect as well. Because when you read Exodus 7 and 1, it says, "And the Lord and the Lord said unto Moses, See, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. And thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he sent the children of Israel out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh, right, shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt, and bring forth mine armies, and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt, by what? By the great judgments. You see that? And that's what the Lord's going to bring. He's going to bring those great judgments upon this place, and upon you people, and upon the place which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, because America is spiritually Egypt, spiritually Rome, spiritually Nineveh, so on and so forth. And he did this once, and he's going to do it again. You know, but see, this time, he's going to, what is that, Zephaniah? Or, not Zephaniah, Zechariah. Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8. And it shall come to pass in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. See that? And see, 2/3, they're going to die. 2/3, let me see this. Let's look it up. Let's get an actual idea of what that is.
Two divided by 3 times 100 is approximately 66.67.
So that's more than, a little bit more than half. See that? And that's what the Heavenly Father is going to have to get rid of. He's going to have to get rid of these guys and keep the third that's going to be left therein. Okay? Because only a remnant is going to return. Only a remnant. And what's going to happen to the wicked? Well, guess what? They're going to be they're going to be turned into hell. All right. That's Psalms 9. And it says, and the wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forgot the Heavenly Father. And see, all you other nations, you're not just going to be witnessing this and then, oh, wow, good thing we're not them. No, you going to get it too, nigga. You know, you other nations are going to get it good. All right? Especially you, Esau, you going to get it real good. Because you're the wicked as well. And our people are they follow after their father, the devil. You know? And that's what's going to get them hurt. This is Psalms 101 and 8. And it says, and I will early destroy all the wicked of the land, that I may cut off all the wicked doers from the city of the Lord. You see that? And that's all those that are going to suffer in this time of Jacob's trouble. Okay? That's why King Solomon, he also said this. Because a lot of our people go around this wicked kingdom and around wherever they are in this world, you know, thinking that nothing's going to happen to them. And they're going to be in for a rude awakening. This is Proverbs 11 and 21. Though hand joining hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. You see that? So the wicked, you're not going to go unpunished now. You know, you're going to have to get what you give. So you give the Heavenly Father a hard time, he's going to give you a hard time. You be a pain in his ass, he's going to be a pain in your ass by sending all his plagues, his wonders, the things that he has that are created for vengeance. You know? Like, and see, that's the thing, vengeance. You know, we know that when you go to Hebrews 30, or Hebrews 10 and 30, that vengeance belongs to who? The Heavenly Father, and the Heavenly Father alone. I believe it's Hebrews 10. Yeah. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 30, for we know him that hath said, vengeance belongeth unto me, and I will recompense, which means to pay back, saith the Lord. And again, the Lord shall judge his people. You know, with the sword, with the famine, with the pestilence, the sword, famine, death, and destruction that you read about in I keep on saying Hebrews, and Second Ezra 15. All right. Why is Heavenly Father going to do this? Because Israel don't know, and even when you try to tell them, they don't consider. So, knowing that our people are unreasonable, it's very foolish to try and wake them up and go back and forth with them, because they're not going to get it. So what are they going to get? Well, they're going to get it. That's the thing. They're going to get it from the hands of the Heavenly Father. All right, and all His wonders that He's going to be sending, upon this place. Matter of fact, let's go. What's that? Psalms 1. Oops. Psalms 1 and 6. It says, for the Lord knoweth the way of the Salakia says, for the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. You see that? So the way of the ungodly, they're going to perish, man. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And this is going to be the time of Jacob's trouble. It's going to be a time of trouble such as never was. And I'm going to go ahead and end it here through the Spirit. This is Daniel 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. You see that? There's going to be a time of trouble such as never was. And that's why us brothers, we do what we do. We read, we watch, we learn, we go out to the highways and hedges, meditate upon these things, because we're mentally preparing for this time. Whereas our people who are just in the world, they're not preparing themselves for anything. The only thing they're preparing themselves is when they go out in the night, because that's when the demons come out, and when they go out in the night and prepare themselves to do any and all kind of manner of wickedness. And see, the Heavenly Father, he's long suffering. He'll suffer it for a little while, but eventually his anger gets to a point like anybody else's where he crashes out, he blows up. And when he blows up, watch out, because he's coming. And he ain't coming in any nice kind of manner. He's coming with a lot of pep in his step to really get shit done, and that's to destroy the wicked, not only of his people, but all those that are that have come up against his people, that laid their hands upon the apple of his eye, starting with Esau and all you other nations that are right down the list, behind him. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and end it here through the Spirit. I pray this lesson was edifying, exhorting, and comforting. As always, I want to give all praises, honor, and the glory to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, 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 and it's on to the next one.